Hello and welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to build a beginner-friendly number guessing game using Python. By the end you'll have a simple little game where the computer secretly picks a number between 1 and 10 and the player has to guess it. We'll even count how many guesses it takes. Let's get started. Okay, so we're in mode. First thing we want to do is just click mode and double check that we're using Python 3, which we are. Okay. And now the first thing we want to do is type import random. So let me explain what's happening here. Import random imports what we call the random module. Now think of a module like a toolbox. It allows you to do something extra you couldn't do with Python alone. Python gives you the hammer, the nails, the wood to make something, but if you want to drill holes, you need a power drill from your toolbox. For this game, we need to generate a completely random number, something Python can't do on its own. That's why we import the random module, which can generate a random number. So hit enter. Now we're going to type def, which is short for define, play underscore game parentheses colon. Okay, this line of code defines a function, and a function is a reusable block of code that we can run anytime by calling its name. This function, play game, will contain all the steps needed to run our number guessing game. So if you hit enter, you'll see that the line is automatically indented. If you want to go back, just hit shift tab. Otherwise, just hit tab to indent the line. And basically when you indent the line, it's saying that the following lines of code belong to this function. So our first step now is to actually generate that random number and store that number in what we call a variable. So what we're going to write is secret underscore number equals random dot rand int brackets 1 comma 10. Okay, so secret number is a variable, which is basically a storage box where we can store a value. We know it's a variable because we're using the equal sign to assign something to it. Random.randint brackets 1 comma 10 is the part that picks a random integer, which is a whole number, between and including 1 and 10. So now that we've generated a random number and assigned it to the secret number variable, we need to take a guess from the player as to what that secret number is going to be. So we are going to hit enter and write player underscore guess equals int brackets input brackets again double quotation marks, close the brackets twice, and in here we'll write our message. So guess a number between 1 and 10 colon space. So in this line, player guess is the variable. It stores the player's answer so we can check it later. Input gets the player's response. It essentially pauses the game and waits for the player to type something. But the problem we have here is that input always gives us a string, which is just text, even if the player types something like 5. You can tell it's a string because it's inside quotation marks, and in Python, text data or strings and number data like integers or floats are completely different types of information. So to determine if the players guessed the secret number, we need to compare two numbers, not a number and a word. So let's say that secret number is 5, an integer, and player guess is 5, a string. Even though they look the same to us, Python sees 5 in double quotation marks as a piece of text, and it will think the guess is incorrect. That's why we wrap the input in the int function. It converts this data into an integer so that it can correctly compare the player guess with the secret number. Okay, so the next thing we need to write, hit enter and write attempts equals 1. And we do this because the player has just made their first guess and we want to track how many attempts it took to guess correctly. So now that we've done that, we want the game to check if the guess and the secret number are the same. And if they aren't, to tell the player if their guess is either too low or too high. In order to do this, we need to write a while loop. So we write while player guess exclamation mark equals secret number colon if player guess is less than secret number colon print too low, try again. Shift tab, else colon print too high, try again. So this while loop essentially keeps running as long as the guess isn't equal to secret number. So if player guess is less than secret number, we're going to print a message too low, try again. Else, if it's not equal to secret number and it's lower than secret number, it must be too high. So we print too high, try again. Now we're going to ask the player for a new guess and update the attempts variable. So hit enter, hit shift tab to go back one indentation and write player guess equals int brackets input, close the brackets, double quotation marks, and inside there write guess again colon space. And then on the next line we want to update the attempts so that the player has used another attempt. So attempts plus equals 1. Okay, great. We've finished the while loop. So while secret number doesn't equal player guess, this loop will run. But if secret number does equal player guess, this loop will be bypassed and execute the next line of code. So let's write, shift tab again, print, brackets, double quotation marks, congrats. Oh, help if I wrote congrats correctly. Congrats. You guessed the secret number in curly brackets, attempts. And in front of the double quotation marks, we're going to write F. Okay. So now here I've used something called an F string to create this message. You can tell because of the F right before the quotes. The F string lets us put the value of a variable directly inside the message. In this case, it will print the value of attempts inside the sentence. We use curly brackets to tell Python exactly where to insert the variable's value in the message. In this case, in the message, we are printing the value of attempts so that we can tell the player exactly how many times it took for them to guess it correctly. So we've written all the steps for the game inside this function. Now to make the computer actually play the game, we need to call the function by writing the function's name. So hit enter and shift tab. We want to be on the far left. And we're just going to write play game, hit run. We've got guess a number between 1 and 10. I'm going to guess 5. Too low, try again. I'll guess 7. Too high, try again. I'm going to say 6. Congrats, you guessed the secret number in 3 attempts. So our game's working. It runs fine. I'll leave it to you to maybe customize your game to make it more difficult, maybe change the range of numbers that you need to guess. But I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.